Not to bring things to a heavy note, but I do think it's important in terms of memorial. You were good friends with the New York Dolls, is that correct?
I wasn't good friends with them. Sylvain Sylvain, who just passed away, who is really the founder of that band.
Yeah.
I started. I went to high school in Manhattan and started hanging out in Manhattan and saw the whole scene happen, CBGB's, Max's Kansas City, all that stuff. And Sylvain is such a New York fixture. Mm-hmm. And in my previous band, we lived in a music building. There's like 10 floors and about 40 bands that live there. And Sylvain used to come by our loft that we had there and hang out. Johnny Thunders lived in the building. And
wow.
And I remember we were trying to figure out a stage name for me. My family came over, immigrated from Russia, and when they landed at Ellis Island, they gave the family the name Schneider, which is a German name. It's Taylor, and it's not. When I said to my dad, I just can't see 20,000 people yell, going Schneider.
It's not as catchy.
Yeah. So he said, well, you can change your name because it's not really the family. It's not the real family name. They couldn't pronounce it. And so I was, trying to figure out a name for me. And Sylvain came over and I said, what do you think if I just do what you did? I'll use my first name twice. Yeah. And he gave me his blessing. He said, work for me.
Wow. That's incredible.
So I hadn't seen him in a long time. And then we did a show probably about 10 years ago, and the Reformed Dolls were on it. And I saw him and I go, do you remember, talking about my name change? He said, absolutely. So
nice.
It was great. But he was just a real New York fixture. And he was a cool guy, man. He was a wealth of rock and roll information and never strayed from what he loved, which was really, roots rock. Eddie Cochran. There's a lot of like early rockabilly and real roots rock and roll in the New York Dolls, and I think Sylvain brought a lot of that. And, that famous guitar that eventually became Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. Was Sylvain's, and he's a guy that definitely is in well in the history books as being especially for a New Yorker. We loved Sylvain,
Of course. I mean, that's a period of history that's quite removed from my reality. I'm 22 years old at the moment. So, when you mentioned that's when you started touring, I could definitely, put myself in your shoes mentally, at least. But, just looking back at that scene, from what I can tell, I think it's hard to overstate the Dolls' impact. I mean, they seem to really have been like sort of the start of this mecca.
Yeah, I mean, they would, they for all intents and purposes, probably made the first, punk rock record or first street punk rock. They were the blueprint. And it was so ironic because they came out at a time when like progressive rock was, the selling thing, all these, bombastic, and I love progressive rock, but I love anything that's real, that's from the heart, and I love the fact that the Dolls and Kiss and all these bands, they looked like rock stars,
Yeah.
Even before they got signed and didn't have a pot to piss in, they looked like they were the richest rock stars on the planet.
That's a good point.
They were definitely an important part of any budding guitar player from New York City, definitely.